Today on Day Trip in Wisconsin, we're going to go on tour and visit 6 homes here in the South Wood County area. And we're going to walk along the Master Gardeners of Wood County. We're going to talk to the president of the Master Gardeners Club, and she's going to give us a little information on the insight of the Master Gardeners and who they are and what they do. So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back. Today we're here in the studio where it's a lot more cooler than than it is outside lately. It's been pretty hot out there. We got Ruth here in the studio, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Master Gardeners and what they're all about. So Ruth, tell me your position with the Master Gardeners and just a little bit about yourself and how you got involved.
Well, actually, I got involved because I like the outdoor world, and I grew up with working in the garden with my grandmother and my mother. And when I was working full-time, it was impossible to take the training and to do the required hours. So both my husband and I, when we retired, we decided that after a while we would just become Master Gardeners, which we took the training in 2005.
Okay.
And as far as personally, actually, most people who know me know that my love of life is horses.
Horses.
Yes, and I've operated a school of horsemanship for 4-H kids for 40 years, and I retired from that in 2016. So then I went into the gardening aspect.
The gardening aspect.
Right.
Now, when you said that there's requirements and hours, how long do some volunteers put in to become a Master Gardener?
Well, first of all, there's a required training of 12 weeks, 3 hours each week, that you must take, and this is administered by the horticulturist in each county or somebody of that category. And then after that, they have to go through like a background check and other requirements. And as we work under UW Extension, which is from Madison, we have to adhere to anything that they might come up with as far as requirements. And then the first year, like for example, we have a class that's graduating actually tonight. I have to go speak with them. And then they will have until next October 1st to earn the required hours, which is 24 hours of volunteer work. They have already earned their 10 hours of continuing education, because we have to educate ourselves all the time so we can educate others.
Okay. And then the education, is that done at the UW Extension, or is it just like held at the library? Or?
Okay, you mean their initial training?
Yeah.
Okay, the initial training can be held anywhere in your county. In fact, I could take training in Portage County and still come back to Wood County.
Oh, okay.
This year, to be central, we're holding it in Pittsville. And then Jeremy Erickson, our horticulturist, is doing the training, and then he brings in guests to talk about various subjects, because during that particular time, they may have a session on botany, they may have a session on like insects. They'll have me come in and talk about, just give a little overview, like tonight I'll be talking about the hours, and just to kind of, familiarize them with what goes on.
Right. Now, when you volunteer and when someone volunteers and puts hours in, where are they volunteering at? Is it at a certain garden, or is it somewhere in the community?
Okay, we have a variety of ways that they can earn the hours that are required, and we have about 25 actually in-ground garden sites that have been started by other Master Gardeners, Each site has a project leader and then a team. So they could join one of those if they would like. By joining, I mean they could go there and work. They could put an hour or two in multiple ones if they would like. Those 25 are scattered throughout Wood County, up in Marshfield and as far as Rome, which is just outside of our borders in Wood County, but that's okay. We do libraries and things like that. So they can choose. And then also we have some administrative areas. Like, for example, we have a board, which I'm the current president right now, board of directors. We oversee the entire program in Wood County. They could be a board member after they become certified. We have a variety of committees, like, for example, the garden walk that we just had. That is a committee which usually they ended up having about 20 people or so that are working in that. And then we have educational committees. We have a plant sale committee, both north and south. And then we have community gardens group. And there's many, many more. We probably have, I would say, probably close to 40 different areas that they could be involved with.
Yeah.
Because not everybody wants to dig in the garden.
Right.
They want we have some people who kind of specialize. Like we have a monthly newsletter, and we have a person who specializes in becoming. She's the editor.
Okay.
And another one would be all of our advertising. We have a person who does all of our advertising. Makes our posters and things like that. So we have, I would safely say, that we have a spot for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, talking about the garden walk, I've done quite a few garden walks. I missed last year's.
Oh, okay.
But the 2 years before that, I went out and we covered that and filmed that, which was a half an hour episode each there. And every time that I go, I'm always surprised at how much work that gets put in there, and don't realize all the work behind the scenes before the community goes out and sees this. Is this how does someone get nominated or become part of the garden tour? Like say for me, for instance, like say if I wanted my home in it, how do I get my home in there? Or is there qualifications, or is that someone who's already been trained as a master gardener?
No, actually, the general public, anybody is welcome to present their garden. What we try to do is we try to have as much variety as possible. As you saw with the 6 gardens we had this time, we had variety. And anyone could call up the UW Extension and leave their name, and then we would contact them. And it's kind of funny you asked that, because we have met already, and we did an assessment of what went right, what went wrong, what we should have done. If there's anybody from the public who says, oh, you really should do this, we do take that underneath our, do's and don'ts and whatever. Yeah.
Right. And is the selection is like is there like key areas, like if there's like this property has a water feature that, and somebody submits other things, that this is something that you select, or certain landscaping features just not along with the plants that are involved with how it's set up? How is that part of that?
Yes. Oftentimes we'll have maybe, like this year, we had a garden that was on the Wisconsin River.
Yeah.
That is ideal because the Wisconsin River is a gem for Wisconsin Rapids. And so that was a perfect fit. And our group right now will be going out probably about last of July or maybe middle of August. And all of us, if we know of anybody, or if we even drive by an address and we see what we think, oh, does that ever look nice? Or does that look interesting? We're always looking for not only beauty, but uniqueness. Like maybe somebody has a tree that fell down in their yard, and they have maybe sculpt that into something and maybe use that as part of their garden art. We might say, oh, that is very interesting. So, or a vegetable garden. And we try to have it so when we map out, that people can follow it easily. We don't have one like, say, in Rome, just one. and then back over to Rudolph, and then back to Wisconsin
Wisconsin
Rapids.
Rapids.
So we try to do the flow, so when they get in their car and they have their map, then they can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and it'll work for them. Let's see, was it a couple of years ago, I believe we were in Rudolph, and it was really neat because the 3 gardens there two gardens there featured vegetable gardens, and we had raving reviews over that. So that's one of the things that was mentioned when we had our little review after this year. Even though I believe we had 2 gardens that had, vegetable gardens, they wanted to know if we could get, a little bit more vegetable gardens.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the houses that we stopped at, we'll see that later on after the interview here. That I believe it was the second home that we stopped at, which had 140 varieties of hostas.
Oh, okay.
I did not know that there was that many varieties.
Of hostas?
Of
There's many
hostas.
more than that.
And that was surprising because the whole landscape, how it went down and around. I mean, you probably look for things like that too, right? That there's
Right, and that probably was extremely unique, and it's getting so that more hostas are more and more popular. I think, first of all, and I like hostas myself. Unfortunately, the folks there, you notice they had a fence.
Yeah.
I live on one of my family's old farms, and my nephew farms the farmland and owns that. But we have 72 acres of nothing but nature and wildlife. And I have hostas, and someone said, well, how does that work? Because don't the deer eat them?
Yeah.
Hostas are one of the favorites for deer.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know, but I said, we have so many other things that they can eat once in a while. But deer do like hostas. So in a setting like was the second garden, if they did not fence that, because there's not much other treats around that deer like.
Right.
Yeah. And the hostas, I think that they're a very beautiful, low-maintenance plant. And the variety is unbelievable. They come from the little minis.
Yeah.
Like I have one that's called mouse ears. And it's just a little bitty thing about so big around. And then you can use those like in rock gardens and things. And the biggest one, I think it's called Wu, and you'll have to excuse me for not knowing the Latin name. But there's many more.
Yeah.
And there's some companies that's all they sell is hostas. And there's always a hosta of the year. So,
Yeah, that's very interesting. And then the last home that we toured was really interesting, that it's a certified for the monarch habitat.
right.
With that, I mean, the other day I went out there when it was nice and quiet, you know, because not a lot of people like to be on camera, so I kind of go out there when it's nice and quiet and it's just myself.
Oh, sure.
And there was a lot of monarchs out in her area, and to be almost 100, it is 100% organic.
Yes, she does, Karen does. I believe she uses all organic materials.
Okay, so that'd be like everything from soil or potting soil that doesn't have the added chemicals to
Yeah.
natural insect repellents.
Right,
and stuff
and
like
there are some companies that promote and only sell organic materials. She uses a lot of mulch. I'm not sure where she gets her mulch from, but I'm sure she's checks to see what goes on. And she uses worm castings, which is a very good soil amendment.
Okay.
That's just the leftovers after the worms. Actually, people raise worms, and then they have the off product from the worm, and then it's packet dried and patched up, and we actually sell that at our plant sales.
Oh, that's very nice. Before a home goes on tour with the community, the volunteers, do they go into these gardens and help them prep the area, or?
Well, yeah, actually, there's a process. of course, we have a group that goes to the host, and we always tell everybody, do not feel badly if you're not chosen, because we may have 10 gardens to look at, and we only need 6. So what we do is we keep a list all the time. So we try to fit together the 6 that we're going to have, and then after we walk through, and we have some guidelines that we wish to adhere to, not because their garden is a problem garden, but we kind of like we like some highlights and things, and the plants they grow. We check to see if there's any invasive plants, and actually some of our homeowners are appreciative of that,
Yeah.
because they don't know what they're growing is invasive, and it could be very pretty. And so we try to adhere to the good horticultural practices. And I would say 99% of our customers, our host gardens, fit the bill. It's just the idea that getting enough people,
Right.
And then they're chosen, and then we have a packet that we give them that kind of introduces them to being a Master Gardener host. And then they go to town and work on it, and they can call us anytime if they have a problem that we need to come help them with. And about 2 weeks before the garden walk, we have a group that will go in and help them tidy up. Just offer them if there's a weed here or there, or if they want us to do some leaf raking or whatever they want us to do.
Right.
So we help them out.
Right.
Free gardeners.
free gardeners, because myself, I don't like to pull weeds as much as the next person.
Right.
So.
Well, and sometimes they just feel comfortable if we just do a walkthrough. I know one year I did that when we were out at Pittsville. And you basically just do a walkthrough, and then also if there's anything that you might deem unsafe, we don't want our guests to fall down or whatever. And so sometimes we'll say, oh, maybe we should change the pathway and put it that way because there's an overhanging tree or something.
Right.
Which the host doesn't. I mean, they would just go by there every day. So
Right.
we want our hosts to have an enjoyable time, and our guests as well, and a safe time.
Right. Now, on the garden walk, I noticed that there was stands displayed of like artists, chefs, and stuff like that. What brings that into the garden walk?
Okay, a lot of people, when they think about a garden, they think about sweat and digging. So actually, when you think of gardening, it is in itself an art. It's just like anything else. People think of art as being picking up a paintbrush and a palette and doing something.
Mm-hmm.
The gardens are actually an art, a true art in nature. So several years ago, we started adding artists, and people just love that. And then we started adding the chef in the garden who uses local produce, and that is kind of like a little advertising for local, and it's something interesting, and they always get a wonderful recipe
Right.
for the newest fruit dish or a vegetable dish or whatever, And then the art boutique, we started out years and years ago calling it Art Treasures. And then we kind of expanded out, and we've expanded out. And now our group, actually, we have a bunch of ladies and men who get together in the wintertime and they make crafts. This year, we did the Mason bee houses.
Oh, yes.
Out of coffee cans and other natural products. And then we sell those at a very good price, we hope. And then all of the rest of us donate things. Like this year, we have Bluebird Nest and just a whole array of pots and what have you, that people can purchase. And of course, all of our funds that go back into our projects or our educational projects. So we earn our own money, and then we write grants from our own money to do all the rest of the stuff. So
That's really cool.
yeah.
So to wrap it all up, if I myself wanted to go through the classes, how do I register, and what do I got to do to become a Master Gardener?
Okay. First of all, you would contact the UW Extension,
Okay.
which the phone number is in one of these brochures that you can probably put online and people would know the number. There's a generic number for where all the calls come into, and then they will direct you to the horticulturist or to one of us.
Okay.
And then we put your name on the list. We do not have the training every year. We used to have it every year. This year, I believe there's 15. It's quite time consuming for everybody.
Right.
So you put the name on, and then the horticulture will set up a time. We'll be probably doing training every other year. So we'll collect up the names, and then what he will do is he will have an orientation day where he brings everybody together and he explains what the whole Master Garden program is about. We don't want people to take the course. It is kind of expensive. I'm not sure. I think it was $150 this year, which includes a 3-ring binder with a lot of information in it. But he wants them to realize the time that they're required to put in, and then after they become certified, the requirements. So he kind of lays it all out so people
Right.
can say, oh, I didn't realize that I don't have time to do that.
Right.
So, and then he explains the background. We're required to have a background check and a few other required things through the University of Madison,
Okay.
which is all simple to do.
Right.
But some people don't prefer to do that.
Right.
It's just like anything else, that being a teacher or
Right.
working any place, sometimes they don't care to do that.
Right.
But we want to make sure that people are comfortable when they come to work with us, because we're a little bit different than a normal volunteer group. We have many more guidelines. Since we do work, we're actually unpaid volunteer staff, and we are part of the UW Extension, and so we work for them.
Okay.
And ironically, the Master Gardeners got started by UW Extension several years ago when they realized they didn't have enough staff to take care of all the questions that come through from the public.
Okay.
So they thought, okay, let's start up a gardening group. And they called it the Wood County, or not Wood County, but Master Gardeners. I always say, oh, I'm not a master of anything. But they came up with that terminology. And I guess the master comes from the fact that we don't know everything, but we can know where to find it. Like resources, we can go online, and we're so happy when people contact us. And we don't have to be afraid to say, oh my gosh, I never heard of that bug, or that disease, but I'll find it for you online.
Right.
So.
Well, a little bit about since you said something a little bit about the history, take us from like the beginning.
Okay. Well, back in 1997 is when Wood County became a fledgling little Master Gardener group, and it started out with about 6 people. And then over time, it grew by leaps and bounds. We started out, the first project, if my memory serves me correctly, was the Southwood County Historical Society. And that still is with us today.
Mm-hmm.
It is a beautiful grounds. It has a variety of gardens, and it really is quite suitable for anybody starting out, to work there maybe an hour or 2, just to get a flavor of what all is there. They have
Right.
hostas, they have spring flowers, they have middle of the summer flowers, and it's just a very, very interesting place to work. Plus, it's historical.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like to work in a historical setting. And then over time, as we grew, we started doing more and more projects. And we have always done some educational projects, but now, because actually our mission is to educate ourselves and educate others. Over time, the state now, with their requirements, are saying that we need to go more into the educational area. That doesn't mean that couldn't be a garden.
Right.
Like, for example, you mentioned having like the wildlife garden area on garden number 6. We could very well plant a garden just like that, and we could have a certified monitoring station, and that would be an educational project.
Right.
So we're starting to do more of that. We're starting to use our gardens for like little garden walks, or maybe just a little gathering where people can learn more about a plant. And then we also do 2 seminars, one in the fall and one in the spring, that's open to the public.
Okay.
And we bring in folks from Madison and popular speakers in the area of horticulture. We try to do, we go into schools, libraries.
Right.
Like this is our 20th anniversary, and we had a committee who prepared a display for all 7 libraries. And it was all about the history of Master Gardener, and then we also had a little display of garden materials. And libraries like us for their summer reading program. And we do a lot of youth programs.
Okay.
2 major ones, the Marshfield Children's Fest and the Wisconsin Rapids Children's Fest. And combined, we make about 2,000 sunflower kits, and
Oh
we
my.
give them out to the kids. Yeah, during the winter time, they work on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot of fun. Well, Ruth, I'd like to thank you so much for coming down and spending a little time with us today and talking a little bit about the Master Gardeners and who you are and what you do and how people can become involved in their community. And it must take a lot of pride to be part of something that you can work with your hands and show people many things. So I just like to thank you for letting us go on tour, and once again, thank you for having us be a part of that.
Well, I appreciate the chance to always showcase the Master Gardeners, because we believe in sustainable living, and having your own garden, even if it's in a container, that's sustainable living.
That's animal living.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll be right back, and after this, we're going to go on tour with the gardens that we just talked a little bit about. So stay tuned.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Along with me was Jim, my husband, and he's helping with tonight. And I have the great honor to present to you Irv and Sharon Ballard. You want to come sit? They've been gardening approximately 55 years. How they got involved in gardening was through parents. They were able to help their parents in vegetable gardens, I'm sure, weeding in those hot days and all that good kind of stuff. I asked them, what do you like most about gardening? And they had an interesting answer. They said they like all of it. Gardening is so much fun. Is there something else you'd like to add to
That was a
your
little bit of a
garden?
lie, because Irv does not like pulling weeds.
Oh, I see.
He doesn't do that part, but he does a lot of other things.
Very good, very good. Well, as a thank you gift for you letting us share your garden with everyone here and all of our guests tomorrow, we are honored to give you this special gardening
Oh
flower.
my, is that pretty?
It's a stepping stone, and all of our stepping stones are made personally by a master gardener here.
And there's also a little interesting feature on the back side. So don't forget to look at the little glass there. So, there you go.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Wow.
Well, here we are at another beautiful garden here in Wisconsin Rapids. We're at the home of Paul and Sherry Seabrick, and their gardens are fantastic, just gorgeous. How long have you been gardening?
We started here at about 2008 with some plants that a friend gave us.
Oh,
The main part of our garden we actually started in about 2012, so this is fairly new for us. And the section up here we actually finished 2 years ago, so it's a pretty new garden for us.
fantastic. How did you get involved with gardening?
My grandmother was a gardener,
Oh, was
and
she?
we always had vegetable gardens at home, and my grandma had beautiful flowers, and my dad's a huge gardener, so.
Oh, and what's your favorite thing about your gardens?
Well, it's something we enjoy doing together. One of our biggest favorite things is going on our buying trips. We go search for hostas and we go shopping, and
Oh, it sounds like a lot of fun. It does
a lot of
sound like a lot of fun.
We're kind of collectors, so we look for unusual, something that somebody else hasn't got.
Oh,
So a lot of our hostas
Interesting.
are, they're not your local Walmart or, Home Depot brands. They're very unique. Yeah, a lot of unique hostas.
Wow.
So,
well, we thank you so much for letting us share your garden and to share it in our garden walk here for Wood County. And we have a thank you gift for you. And this is a stepping stone. And it was hand designed and made by one of our local master gardeners here in Wood County.
And there is a little thing on the bottom there too, so the back isn't just plain. So.
very cool.
there you
Oh,
go.
how beautiful that is.
thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
so
again
much.
for sharing your gardens.
Thank you.
And here we are at yet another garden on the Wisconsin Rapids Garden Walk here in Wood County. And today we're at Richard McLean's home here in Wisconsin Rapids. Richard McLean has mostly shade in his gardens. And about how many years have you been gardening?
Since basically since 2006, when I built the cedar fence to keep the deer out. I did landscaping. First thing I did was landscaping, and then I could start on the perennials.
So your first project was deer feeding.
Yes.
Very good. And how did you get involved in gardening?
How I got involved, my youngest son is a landscape architect with a business in Minneapolis, and he kind of clued me in that you could do a lot of things with shade. There's a lot of plants that can be grown in shade.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I'm interested in, is to see what kind of plants you have growing in shade, because I know that growing in shade is a little bit different than we have with the sun or part sun, and I understand you have real shade.
Yes, it's pretty, it varies from part shade to pretty dense shade, yes.
And what part of your garden is your most favorite?
It all is.
Great! Was there anything else you'd like to share about your gardens?
No, I don't think so. Just enjoy it.
Well, at this time, though, I'd like to personally thank from Mia Marks. She's a member of our Master Gardeners of Wood County, and she every year specializes in making these special stones for our people that are sharing their gardens with us, and she does a fabulous job. So again, I'd like to thank Mia for doing that for us. At this time, we'd like to present you with our thank you gift of the garden stone, and thank you for sharing your gardens with all of us.
Well, thank you very much for this.
And on the back is a little stone, and it's got
Well, hello there again. We just traveled down Highway 13 from Wisconsin Rapids down here to Rome, Wisconsin. And here we have another beautiful, beautiful garden. In addition to the garden, I'd like to introduce to you not only the garden owner, but also the co-chairperson for the Master Garden Garden Walk this year. So I'd like to present to you Barb Harride. We owe her a lot of thanks to everything she's done for us.
But Diane, it's everybody else that has done
Indeed.
everything else. It takes a big team to do this. So
Indeed.
It's
That power of delegation.
it works.
Indeed. We do have a large group of volunteers that we'd like to thank. We can't thank everyone at this particular point, but this is fabulous here. So Barb, how did you get involved in gardening?
Well, ever since I was a little kid, I helped in my family's vegetable garden, so that's where I learned it. But I didn't really know about perennials until about the 1990s. So it was kind of a journey. I've evolved
to a beautiful end. We're looking forward to seeing your garden. It is fantastic. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
No, just I'm glad to have everybody here and enjoy the day.
Great. We'd like to present you with a special garden plaque.
Thank you.
It's a garden
gorgeous.
stone.
It is
and
heavy.
again, it is heavy. And again, it was made and designed specially for her by Femia Marks, one of our master gardeners here. So if would you like to
just
show us around?
People can just kind of go and go where they want to. The other side, there's more gardens on the backyard. So.
Okay. In addition to, I did mention that she was a co-chair. We also have another co-chair this year, and I'd like to bring her up at this moment, Denise Larson. Denise Larson is another Master Gardener of Wood County Master Gardeners, and she has a special task that she'd like to explain to you about.
We have a special boutique, a garden boutique that we hold at the Garden Walk, and we accept donations from the Master Gardeners and all over the city. And then we resell them. Sometimes we fix them up and resell them used items. And then we also have craft nights that we host, that we make things and sell at the Garden Walk as well.
Thank you so
to
much
try to raise money.
for everything you do for us for
Thank
the
you.
Garden Walk.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people here that help too with the making of things and the gathering of used items. So
Absolutely. Well, thank you again to both of you for co-chairing this event this year. It's a major undertaking, but a fabulous success this year. And these ladies even made the sunshine for us. It's going to be a beautiful garden walk.
I'll take credit, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Well, up to now, we've been concentrating on the gardens and the garden owners. But we also have, at each garden, there's an artist. Some of them have 2 artists, some only have 1. And what we'd like to do is introduce you to some of our artists that are here today. If you would give us your name and a brief description of your artwork that you do.
Okay, well, my name is Terry Gear, and I do welded garden art. So welded sculptures and interesting creations that I can come
Heavy
up with.
metal.
Yes, yes.
Heavy metal.
And I'm going to be here in Barb's garden.
Okay.
Is the garden location that I'm at,
Okay.
is Barb Harride's.
And I believe that you've made a piece that Jim is really looking at possibly purchasing. His tree.
Oh, yes.
Yes. It's a wonderful looking metal tree.
All right. Nancy?
Hi, I'm Nancy Lightnum. I'm from the rural Nakusa area, and I will be at the I'm at the Paul and Sherry Seabrook Gardens today, and I am a basket maker, and I make pine needle baskets and reed baskets that I just enjoy doing. I've done it for years, and I'm happy to be here today.
All right.
Thank you.
Dan?
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Dan Christofferson. I'm a wood turner. I've been doing it for a couple of years now. I make all sort of creations, pens and bottle stoppers and all sorts of items out of wood and pine cones and just about anything I can find around to recycle. So, and I'll be at Rich McClure's house.
So, in the words of a popular woodworker, is may the grain be with you, right?
That's for sure. Yeah, not the other way.
All right.
My name's Patty Larson, and I will be at garden number 5, the Babcock, Diane Babcock's garden, and I make handmade jewelry.
And I am also at Diane Babcock's. My name is Meredith Larson. I'm a local artist, and I will be having paintings.
You can paint part of her jewelry.
Yes.
All right, well, thank you for coming here and showing us your artwork and everything. We do have 2 other artists that are not here tonight. And, one is Chris Russell, and she does oil and mixed media. And she is the only one that is missing tonight. So I'd like to thank you for sharing your talents with us.
Thank you for inviting us.
Jim, have we been having fun yet?
Oh, you bet we have. We've seen a lot of interesting gardens so far.
We have, and you know, each garden is so different, and you know, I think it truly represents the personality of each garden. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, definitely, you know, because none of the 2 gardens are the same.
They aren't.
They could all read the same book, still come up with something different.
I agree, and so fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, we are still here in Rome, Wisconsin, and we're here at the Babcocks, at Diane and Roger Babcock's home, and we have Diane with us right now. And Diane is excited to be on the garden walk with us, as we are excited to see this gorgeous garden. So how long have you been gardening this year? In your wherever?
Well, I started flower garden and vegetable gardening with my mom when I was a kid. So it's been a few years.
I bet she taught you some important things.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that was just what, a little over 20 years ago?
Yeah, a little bit more than that. But
So what part of your garden or what part of gardening is more fascinating to you? What part of gardening do you like?
I just like the peacefulness of it, the serenity in your garden.
I thought for sure that weeding would be high on the list.
No.
Of your favorite things to do. It's not, though, huh?
Oh. So it looks fantastic.
Thank you.
Well, we would like to present to you our thank you gift again from Famia, and she's the gal that actually designed and created this specially for you this year.
Very
so
nice.
we accept.
Thank you very much.
That. You are welcome.
Thank you very much.
Well, should we go on and see your fantastic gardens?
Sure.
Jim, it's so sad.
I know, this is the last garden.
I know. Of the 18th annual garden walk for Master Gardeners of Wood County. Well, we are excited though. We are thoroughly excited. We're here with Karen Hodek and her husband Greg, and this is their yard. And there's something very, very special about their yard, which we'll talk about in 1 minute. First of all, Karen, how long have you been gardening?
Since I was an indentured servant for my mom. So, knee high.
Oh, we all love those days when we had that, those little urchins.
Yep. Yep.
Indeed. And what got you, what type of gardening do you have here? And what's your most exciting part of your garden?
We are certified backyard wildlife habitat and a certified monarch station. So over half of the plantings in this garden are native plantings for the pollinators and the wildlife. And I think, I don't know, I garden to create spaces where you can stop and enjoy, and that's what we do here. So
There definitely are. There's a lot of places to stop and enjoy.
Yeah, there is. It is beautiful. And that's what I mentioned a little bit earlier about the certification that she has accomplished through the Wisconsin, I believe it's a Wisconsin certification.
No, it's a National Wildlife Federation.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
Yeah.
This is always exciting to come here. There's so many new and exciting things because of the fact that she is certified in this, and you have to meet special requirements, don't you?
You have to provide food and water, cover, places to raise their young, and you have to practice with sustainable gardening practices. So everything in our property is done organically.
Well, it's a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'd like to present you with a thank you gift for letting us view your gardens and share it on the garden walk today. They are quite heavy.
Thank you.
They are indeed quite heavy.
Pink is my garden color too, even though it's all yellow right now.
Oh, wonderful.
So,
thank you again for sharing your garden with us on the 18th annual garden walk for Master Gardeners of Wood County. And let's go see what you have to offer.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Come
thank
join
you.
us.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. I'm so glad you can join us on this 1-hour episode of Day Trip in Wisconsin to show the beauty that Southwood County has to offer. Until next time, we'll see you on the road.